Hey everyone. We are going to dive in today to talk about why more people are not saying yes to working with you and to purchasing your product or your service. So I'm super excited to be here with you. My name is Rebecca Matthias. I am the founder of the School of Feminine Fortune, and I am going to dive in with you in regards to the psychology of sales. There's a lot involved, if you can imagine, and most people never receive any kind of training on this. So if you've taken any kind of sales training or anything like that, basically you're not going to get the most stellar results that you could get until you understand the psychology of sales, which is what I am. Hi, Katie. How are you, love? Thank you for the beautiful compliment. That is what I am here to share with you, and we're going to go ahead and dive right in. So first and foremost, there's a psychology on every sales conversation that you have with clients and potential clients. So every time you come to the conversation, there's an energy that's there, and there's a programming that's there that will make you think that this person's going to sign up with me, or this person's going to purchase from me, or they're not going to purchase from me. If you have insecurity and you lack confidence, then you're going to bring that into the conversation. And same holds true for the client, right? If they have insecurities or they have subconscious programming, they're going to bring that to the call as well. So what I want to tell you is you need to know yourself. That knowing yourself is one of the most powerful things on the face of the planet. And when you know yourself, you recognize where you have inadequacies, if you will, or weak spaces or weak places where you're going to identify what it is that you need to do to come as a whole person and to continue working on yourself and doing personal development. Being a woman and being an entrepreneur, it's one of the best personal development courses on the face of the planet. So if you just continue on the journey, being authentic, being vulnerable, and being open and honest, then it is a journey of continuing to develop yourself, to love yourself, to pay attention to what the self-talk is. So that's going to impact your sales conversation. So if you're having a sales conversation with someone and your inner talk is like, oh my gosh, you're such an idiot, or what you have to sell is not of value, that's going to not work very well in your favor. So you really want to think about what it is that you can be doing on the inside on a daily basis to set yourself up for tremendous success. So think about the psychology that you bring to the table, and then think about the psychology that your client brings to the table. And that is going to be what makes all the difference in the world. So maybe even doing a journaling exercise so you can get to know yourself a little bit better, and do be honest with yourself. Like, you're only betraying yourself if you're not being honest with yourself. So what is the inadequacies? What are the insecurities? Where are the areas of where you are second guessing yourself, or you have to build your confidence in a particular area? What are those different areas that you need to be working on? And perhaps you want to work with a coach on something like that, or work with a mentor to go ahead and to work on curing those things and eliminating those things so that you're able to come to the sales conversation from a holistic perspective. The other part of this is that your client is coming to the table where they have their own stuff going on, right? They have money beliefs, they have beliefs about time, they have attachments or codependency perhaps in relationships. So we'll dive into the 3 different areas of the psychology behind the objections, and you'll be able to see the exact thing that you can look kind of under the surface for and identify, gosh, this is where this person is coming from, or here's what's really going on in this person's mind. So if you're just tuning in, welcome. And I'd love to see your comments below. So definitely post and say hi, say where you're tuning in from. I'd love to give you a shout out. I'd love to answer your questions. And I'd love to be able to give some live coaching if anyone has any questions, which would be fun and awesome. So anyhow, we'll dive into time. If someone has a belief about that they don't have enough time, then they're typically operating in drama to begin with. So if you're on the phone with someone or you're in person with someone and you're having a sales conversation and they're saying that this is not the right time for them, or this is that they will wait until later. Usually, especially with a woman, I will speak to the psychology of women, which is more of my area of expertise, but typically what happens is it's a woman self-denying or a woman self-betraying in some ways. And women are famous for this, right? Like when finances get tight, what happens? You stop getting your nails done, or you stop getting your hair done, or you try and do it yourself. And that's just on a general scale. So when you are on the phone with someone, it's important for you to help them to identify what's really true for them, because most of the time women are caught up in their own illusion of what's actually going on. That's why time drama exists. If you ask a woman, one of my ways of healing time drama is to look at your calendar. So if you can't tell me what you've done in each 15-minute increment of the day, then it's likely that you're out of reality with time, which is one of the ways that women will take themselves out of the game of life. And so that's something that you can offer to the person that you're talking about. How do they know it's not the right time? Is this statement a really true thing? And sometimes that is the case. Like I had a strategy call with someone a while back, and I actually asked her, why are you interviewing coaches now? Because she was starting a yoga training. And it didn't make sense to me for her to interview coaches for a year from now after her yoga training. And it was really helpful for her, which I was happy to hear, because then she was able to recognize, like when she comes out of this yoga training, she's going to be a totally different person. So the right mentor and coach for her is not who she would probably be interviewing in this present moment. So anyways, if you, and here's the other thing, like you're bringing your psychology, but you're also bringing your energy. So what's the energy that you're bringing? Is it an energy of scarcity mindset and desperation? And, oh my gosh, I need to make a sale to pay my mortgage kind of thing. And if that's what's happening, then you need to get yourself straight before you go into the sales conversation, because what you're feeling, the potential client is going to feel. People can feel energy, whether they admit it or not, but everyone has been to a party or gone somewhere where they're like, I don't know what it was about that person, but I just didn't like them. And I've never talked to somebody who cannot relate to that statement right there. So think about what is the energy that you're showing up with when you're coming to the conversation. And then think about the energy that they're coming with, because you're the expert, right? People are coming to you and they're wanting to have you help them achieve a goal or solve a problem, or both. And so you have to be really holding the energy and be grounded. And when you do, the person will feel like you're there to support them and you're there to take care of them. And here's the cool thing about that. People will not always remember what you said or what you did, but they always will remember how you made them feel. So it's important with your client interactions and potential client interactions that you are paying attention to how you leave someone feeling, which is also related to your psychology. So the psychology is underneath of everything that you do, the choices that you make, the thoughts that you think, the words that you speak, all of it is related to psychology. So for those of you who are not super familiar, I'm just going to give you a little tiny 1 minute Psych 101 thing here, where basically from the time of being in utero up until the age of 7, you are just downloading. You're downloading everything around you. You're downloading what's normal, what's not normal, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, what's right, wrong, good, bad, all of those sorts of things. And when you end up as an adult, you have this programming, and unless you choose to become conscious about it, it's probably not going to change. In other words, if you have certain beliefs about money, for example, like there's never enough money, let's just use that example, then you're going to continue to manifest experiences in life where you have just enough money. And anytime money comes in, money goes out the door. This is what I call the leaky bucket entrepreneur. And this is very frustrating. And you could potentially be making 6, 7, even 8 figures. I've spoken to people who are still in this type of circumstance where they're still really being the leaky bucket entrepreneur and not the masterful entrepreneur, because they still have this psychology that they have not yet overcome. Now, here you are, you're an adult, and you have 60,000 thoughts a day. We're only conscious of about 5% of the thoughts that we think on a daily basis. So most of the time, the psychology from the past is running the show currently, unless you are completely passionate and committed to continuing on your personal development path and shifting and changing the self-sabotaging patterns within yourself. Now you bring two people together on a sales conversation and you both want a certain outcome, and that doesn't always match up. And you're enmeshing the two different you're enmeshing the two different psychologies. So that's what plays into how a sale happens, if a sale happens, if it doesn't happen, if the person never wants to be around you again or talk to you again. There are different cultural psychologies that you bring to the table that can be a very interesting thing. I coach women internationally, and when I've spoken to people in different countries, there is a different cultural psychology that comes with them being in that part of the world. So that has been exciting for me to learn and to respect the different cultures and the different ways of thinking and being and acting and what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And when your client has an objection, if you are not educated in this area, you could offend them. You could hurt their feelings. You could cause further psychological damage. There's all kinds of things that could happen. So one of the best things to do is don't go into an area of speaking to someone that isn't your area of expertise, A, and B, always ask for permission. So we'll move on to the second objection, the second most common objection, which is, I don't have the money. 99.9% of the time, when someone tells you that they don't have the money, it's not that they don't have the money. It's that they don't see the value. And if they don't see the value, they're not going to say yes to what they're purchasing. And this is not for you to get into a dynamic where you're like, I'm going to try and convince them, or I'm going to lean forward. That feels really yucky. So this is where you want to take a breath, take a moment, and lean back and really have them qualify themselves. So when someone is going to purchase something, a product or service that you have, it's like, what would make you a good candidate for this program or this service? And really asking those questions that has them answering in a way that it's as though they're qualifying themselves, which is really kind of cool, because then it's their decision. There is no pushiness there, but there is authenticity. So your job is to not buy into their circumstances, because what they believe are their circumstances when it comes to money, it's an illusion. And I think you probably know this for yourself. We all have, in some form or another, a dysfunctional relationship with money and money drama, depending upon where you are on the spectrum. People who have made a lot of money don't necessarily they're not perfect, and they don't all of a sudden have no money problems and no money drama and no healing to do in their relationship to money and their beliefs about money. So that's another component that you need to heal. But the worst possible thing that you could do is to buy into someone else's money story. So when someone says, I don't have the money, then the first thing that I would encourage you to do is to see them through the lens of their highest self. There's a universal law called it's the law of desire, right? And it is inherent in every desire is the fulfillment for that desire. So one does not exist without the other. So if somebody has a desire for your product or service, the resources for that are also present. It's just a matter of identifying where they are. So the statement, I don't have the money, is actually an illusion. And then you are now buying into that illusion of that person instead of holding them as powerful and seeing them as a powerful creator. We're all, each and every single one of us, powerful creators in the universe. So if that's what you really believe, then how can you empower this person to make a decision, because the decision is always going to come before the objection. So it's like, if money wasn't an issue, what would the decision be for you? If time wasn't an issue, what would the decision be for you? If you didn't have to go and have a conversation with your partner, your husband, what would the decision be for you? So there's certain steps present in a sales conversation. Step number one is there's a desire. They have engaged with you to see if they are going to invest in what you're offering in your product or service. Two, the next thing that has to happen is decision. This is how manifestation works, okay? So if you don't truly understand the law of attraction and manifestation, then you're not going to understand this process. There's a certain order in which things happen. Our universe is a universe of order. There's order to the laws of the universe. For example, the law of gravity. There's certain things that have to happen in order for the law of gravity to be engaged. So the same holds true for the law of attraction. And a lot of people don't understand the intricacies of the law of attraction. And I'll give you a bonus. I will give you a little bonus tip here that most people don't talk about. I've never heard anyone else talk about this in regards to the law of attraction. When you are looking to manifest something, and you can even tell this to the person that you're speaking with, right? Like if they have a desire for what it is that you're selling and they have made a decision and they're not yet seeing the resources, if you are making an unwavering decision, that's a huge component to manifestation, is having a conviction. Having a conviction like this is happening no matter what. I will do everything that in my power that I can do, etc. If your self-talk is in the toilet, then you're going to have a very difficult time manifesting what it is you say that you desire. So if you're like, you know what, I want to start having consistent $5,000 months every single month, and you're walking around like I'm an idiot, or I don't believe in my value, or I'm so insecure, I don't know what to do, or I feel so inadequate, then you are in direct opposition of universal law. And you're either going to manifest in a skewed way, or it's going to appear as if you're not manifesting. That's not true. We're always manifesting. We're either manifesting what we desire, or we're not manifesting what we do not desire, or sometimes a mixed up version of that. But all of these things need to be in congruency in order to have something happen. So when you see through the lens of seeing your client as powerful in their highest self, then you get to help empower them to identify where the resources are for what it is that they desire, aka your product or service. So the next step is to ask permission. Would you like help with identifying how this could become possible for you? I've had people who have wanted to coach with me, and it's like we'll come up with a plan for them to go generate $5,000 in 3 days, and they can go make it happen easily because I give them a step-by-step plan. But you have to do what's authentic for you. I know how to coach people on money mindset and manifestation, obviously. And if that's something that you are still really struggling with, then I wouldn't suggest that you go and try and help someone with something. It's almost like a doctor who is wounded trying to fix a patient when he or she needs to pay attention to their own broken arm or broken leg, and you cannot go and help someone else. It's just like being on an airplane, the airplane's going down, and you're busy trying to help someone else put their oxygen mask on when you're in reality needing to put your own oxygen mask on. So then you can go and explore with the person what makes sense for them. Where could they obtain the resources for their desire? What I know to be true is that most women will, again, like I said earlier, to engage in some form of self-denial or make up reasons as to why they can't do it right now, whether that's money or time or my husband said no or whatever. It's all a form of them attracting in their life a no for what they want to do, or a no for putting things off because they're afraid of who they might become as a result of engaging in your product or service, especially if you offer a transformational product or service. So that's where their self-sabotage will show up, and they will end up self-imploding, beginning to self-implode, beginning to self-betray, beginning to self-abandon, And you can ask for permission and turn around and say, listen, I'm noticing some interesting behaviors here. Again, if you have an area of expertise in the realm of humanistic psychology, that's a whole different ballgame. If you don't, then you might not be accustomed to behavioral observation. I am. I've spent many years observing my own behavior, and I've spent many years looking at psychological patterns and success-oriented results for people. Like, why do some people have success and others don't? What are the habits of successful people? What is the psychology of successful people? And so because of that area of expertise that I have, I will literally help walk someone through this, where I can say, listen, I'm noticing some things that I've seen other women do. It's very common, and I'm wondering if you're available for my feedback. I've never not had anyone say, no, Rebecca, I don't want to have your feedback. And so what I would say is that, I might say, listen, it seems to me like or you could do a mirroring technique, right? Like, what I'm hearing you say is that you really desire, I'll just use an example of what I offer, which is, for example, one of the things we're going to be posting a link on here for you, the course in the School of Feminine Fortune that is currently 50% off for just 24 more hours. It's $750. You get 12 group Q&A calls with me, and you get 11 weeks of interactive workbook, 2-minute guided meditation, and a 10-minute video training. So it's top-notch training. You can't miss out on this training, especially at 50% off. And we're going to be posting the link in here for you. But let's say someone's like, Rebecca, I really want to take your sales mastery course. I want to know how to increase my conversion rates in the sales conversations that I'm having with my clients. And, but you know what, I'll do it later, or I'm sorry, I'm going to miss the sale, but I have some other things that I'm dealing with right now. Paint the picture of what they have to lose. For example, if someone decides, I'm going to wait to take the sales mastery course, A, they're going to lose out on getting 50% off. And B, how many more sales are they going to make as a result of this training? So that's a huge thing to paint a picture for someone, because a lot of times when people go to invest in something, they're looking at, I'm laying down this money, here's what I have to lose, until you get to the masterful entrepreneur level. And even then, there are times where you're making such an investment and it's such a stretch and it feels scary. It's important to do that, by the way, because it's a big personal growth thing. But, even then, most of the time at that level, though, you are seeing, wow, this is really going to grow my business, or this is really going to impact my marketing reach, or what have you, however it is that you're investing in something. But you are looking through the lens of what are the benefits and what are the results and what will I gain as a result of making this investment. A, you're making an investment in yourself. So that's a beautiful gift right in and of itself. When you are making an investment in yourself, you are giving a monetary demonstration of believing in your value, believing in your vision, believing in your ability. That's a beautiful, beautiful gift. So if you start painting a picture for someone and it's like, okay, well, here's what you're going to lose. If you don't jump into this 50% off sales mastery course with me, then you're going to stay at the same exact level of conversion rates likely that you're at right now. If you're ready to increase your sales, what would just one more sale per month mean for you? Is it another $1,000 in your pocket? Is it another $5,000 in your pocket? Is it another $10,000 in your pocket? What would another 10 sales do for you? So when you look through that lens, it becomes a no-brainer to sign up for a course that is literally 50% off, that lands you 12 group coaching sessions with me and puts you in an environment with other people who are also increasing their sales conversion rates and understanding the psychology of sales. In the course, we take 2 weeks where we go over how to handle objections. Most women don't have the confidence to handle objections. So like I said, we're going to be posting the link for you in here. I would love for you to join us. You can start the course at any time. You don't have to start it right away. You can say, Rebecca, I want to purchase the course at 50% off, and then I want to start it on March 1st. You can start it whenever you want to start it, but you lock in at the 50% off rate. So one last key before we go. So we talked about how your clients sabotage during sales calls. We talked about what, 3 decades I'm passing on to you in 25 minutes, which is, I'm doing my best to give you all the nuggets. And even reading books about psychology that will help you to understand your own human behavior even more, or different human design types or something like that, for example, can be really helpful for you to understand about yourself and understand about others even further. I have found that to be one of the most valuable things in my life, in every area of my life, in business, in personal, all of it, understanding myself, understanding the other person, and also being open to learning about the other person. So when you see your client sabotaging, last thing I want to leave you with to really support them is to make sure that you are not judging them. They will feel the energy. And again, a client will always remember how you made them feel. And whether or not they become a sale right now, they might become a sale down the road. But if you've left them off feeling yucky about things, then when you go back potentially down the road and say, hey, listen, I'd love to reconnect with you and hear about what's been going on for you. And then, certainly if it's a fit to work together, great. But if you made them feel yucky, or perhaps you felt yucky from them, then it's probably not going to go well. I wouldn't really recommend reaching out to that person necessarily. So really think about how you can hold a space of compassion for this person. They're a human being just like everyone else on the face of the planet. They have their own things that they bump up against in their life. And seeing through the lens of compassion, like they're just not there. I'm going to send them love, and really just honoring them for their decision if it's a no, and then certainly if it's a yes, celebrating on all levels of what that means for you and that person. So again, I'd love for you to join our Sales Mastery course. If you have any questions, you can Facebook message me directly, but we'll be putting the link below. You can click on it, go right to the page. This is for the next 24 hours only. And I look forward to seeing you in the Sales Mastery course. Have an awesome rest of your day.